Here is the most requested question we see, and that is the infamous typewriter text. How to put it on Showit and how to make it look pretty. So, as you'll notice, it is going to be done with an embed code. And when you open this up, we're going to have a container that has some script. So this is pulling from a pre-designed typewriter effect script. And as the internet changes and gets updated and the creator updates their code, sometimes this can get broken. So when we used a script, we tend to like to use it sparingly just in case, because we've had things that have gotten broken before and you have to go in and troubleshoot. So you'll see the script here. And then if you come down, we do have where you can pre-select your fonts, and we are telling the script what exactly to do for our typewriter. And midway down, you're going to notice this is where we are going to be customizing the look, the size, the orientation of our text. And at the bottom is our typewriter string. So this is going to be what it's typed out every single time. It's going to tell it to pause for a amount of time, delete it, and then start the string over. So you can use as many strings as you would like. You can, add more in here. But for now, we're going to do for Showit, for speed, for ease, for sanity, for you, and we're going to tell it to continue to loop. So you'll notice that we have a second one down here, and we are able to now do multiple typewriters on one page by giving it a specific container code or a container ID. And this one is styled differently, but for this one, we are telling it to not loop. So it will type out the string, it will type out as many as you have, and then it will stop on your last one. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and copy the provided embed code and start from scratch. So I want to add a blank canvas, and this will generally go with a already designed headline. If you work with specific types, like a specific niche of people, that could be something that we're going to put in. So we'll start with that. We work with, and you could already add this to kind of like a pre-done canvas as well. All we're going to do is add in that embed box. Okay, so I have the beginning. Now I want to go in and add in an embed code box. So this is where your code is going to sit. It's where the styling is going to sit and where you're going to be typing out the strings. So I'm going to go ahead and paste that in. And once we save it, it's set to white. So what I'm going to do is change the styling of this. I'm just going to keep the font as is for now. And we're going to start to see some code. Or, I'm sorry, some typing. And then for mobile, because our container is pulling a predetermined style, this isn't going to match on the mobile. So what we're going to do is we're just going to scale our embed box down until we're happy and we find a good medium. And another thing to keep in mind is because it's got specific padding for desktop and it's kind of like created for a specific width, what we're going to want to do is just preview this as we go, because you're going to notice that it's over here, and even though the scale looked correct, it doesn't look right on the front end. So we are going to have to do a little bit of juggling on the back end and then kind of double check on the front end. So I'm just going to go ahead and get my sizing down correctly just so I can start moving on. Okay, so that might be a little bit too big. I'm going to go ahead and size it down a little bit more. And this is just trial and error. It depends on what font you have, the size of the text length. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do that. Move it over just a little bit. If you are doing this for templates, this is definitely something you're going to want to kind of tell people about, make a tutorial for, just so that way they know exactly what all this is that they're looking at, where they can change their font family, kind of where they can change all of their font styling to get it exactly how they want, and then how to change the actual typing strings. So for this one, we're working with, we'll say, creatives. We'll say entrepreneurs. I always love when I can spell that correctly on the first try. We'll work with photographers. And coaches. Now you'll be able to obviously copy these three and paste them in front of your start, because your start script right here is just telling what we want this loop to do. So if you want to create more, you're just going to go ahead and copy those three, enter, and paste more. So, we could do something like that. All right, so once we preview it, and it's really that simple. I mean, you could also come in here and let's grab a color. You could easily, change up your color, change up the alignment, line spacing, line height, your letter spacing. You can make these all uppercase. Pretty much anything you want to do. If you wanted to add more for a font weight, then you could, easily copy this and it would be, font weight. All right, so we're going to go ahead and save that one. Now to have this function multiple places on the page, we've had a lot of people who were trying to do it multiple times and then not necessarily changing certain places within the code, and then it kind of like breaks it everywhere on the page, or it will adapt to one size and not the other. So what we have done is you can see here that we have just given our div a new ID. So if I were to highlight this container right here, let me just open one up. So I'm going to highlight it, and then if you do Command F, you can see everywhere that this is placed on this page. So what I'll want to do is, if I'm making multiple, let's go ahead and make just another blank canvas. Let's give this one a color so we can use a different font style. And generally what people think to do is just go copy and paste, tweak this code, and they're done. So if we were to do something like that, yes, it looks like it works on the back end, but once you get to the front end, it's kind of adapting from this code down here, and we have like a blank kind of, I forget what those are called, but it's kind of breaking everywhere on the page. So we want this one to stay as is, and we want this one to be like a different font weight, a different size. So you could say 180, just, things like that. But so what we'll want to do is obviously change this div ID. So I'm going to go ahead and click find again, and I just want to kind of determine that this is a different container that is pulling, this script source. So now I'm going to say container 2, and I'm just going to highlight the whole thing, and everywhere that I have highlighted, I'm just going to paste that in. Okay, there we go. So now once we preview it, we should have a different styling, and we have 2 on here. So I hope this helps, and this is how we do it, and we're always open to kind of learning and growing as we find new tools.